Welcome back to Occult Archives, where we peel back the layers of history's most, well, let's say infamous books. And,
Yeah.
we leave the stuffy libraries and the academic jargon behind. We like to really dive in, get our hands dirty with
Right.
with the secrets and philosophies and sometimes, well, the downright strange stuff they contain.
Yeah, the bizarre.
So
Yeah.
today we're taking a look at a text that's it's definitely got this kind of shadowy reputation,
Mhm.
The Root of the World by Roger Bacon.
Mhm.
Now, it might not be, like the top of the list when you think of like forbidden magic books, but trust me, for its time,
Oh, yeah.
this was some seriously potent stuff.
Right.
We're talking about the kind of hidden world of alchemy, hints of occult forces, and even
Yeah.
what you could say a whisper about the secrets of creation itself.
What's really interesting is while we can have that dramatic framing, that occult, uh, conspiracy theory kind of framing,
Yeah.
at its core, this text represents a serious intellectual endeavor. Bacon was grappling with these really fundamental questions about the nature of reality, the nature of matter, and how is it even possible to transform one thing into another?
Right. And while we don't have like an exact date, on the text itself,
Right.
the language and the kind of alchemical themes really suggest, we're talking historical setting here. Imagine that medieval period, right? Thinkers wrestling with these ideas from Aristotle
Yeah.
and this sort of budding interest in what we would now call chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not just historical trivia. The Root of the World. It delves into these fundamental ideas about, well, what is matter made of?
Yeah.
How can it be changed? And
Did we understand
and how does that even work?
the very building blocks
Yeah.
of the world around us?
Right.
Right.
So think of this deep dive as your kind of guided tour, right?
Yeah.
We've gone through Bacon's sometimes pretty cryptic writing.
Yeah, it can be dense.
Yeah, we've sifted through those layers of meaning. We're going to extract the core insights, the really important stuff, without getting bogged down in too much complexity.
Right.
So our mission today, pretty straightforward: to understand Roger Bacon's alchemical principles as he lays them out in The Root of the World. We're focusing on his ideas about the composition of matter and his theories on how transmutation,
Right.
The changing of one substance into another, how that might actually be possible.
Yeah, very
Yes.
heady concept.
So let's get into it, right? Bacon, he starts with this bedrock concept, one that was pretty common for his time. 4 elements, right? Fire, air, earth, and water. But he doesn't just, list them off. He really posits that all natural things, whether they seem perfect or imperfect, they're all made up of these 4, united by divine will.
Right. Right. What's interesting is he goes on to actually assign specific roles to these elements.
Okay.
He says that earth and water, they provide what he calls the corporeity and visibility. So that's like the tangible, the seeable aspects of things.
Right.
And then fire and air, they represent the spirit and the invisible power. So those are like the energetic forces, the things that are maybe less directly observable but still at play.
So it's this holistic view where the physical, the tangible stuff, and the energetic, the invisible forces, they're all kind of intertwined at this very fundamental level.
Right. They're 2 sides of the same coin, you can say.
Yeah, and he emphasizes that when these 4 elements come together in this perfect union,
Right.
they don't just, mix up. They fundamentally become something new. And that's the basis of all, natural things, that perfect conjunction.
Right. And that sets the stage for understanding how alchemy might even be possible. Because if everything is fundamentally composed of these same building blocks, just in different combinations, different proportions, then the idea that you could alter those,
Right.
that you could shift those, that you could maybe transform one substance into another becomes a bit more conceivable.
And then he brings in some real intellectual heavy hitters here. He brings in Rhesus and Aristotle, right?
Yeah.
And their consensus was that that true generation, that true transformation, it only happens between elements of the same kind.
Right.
Or nature.
Of the same fundamental essence, yeah.
You know, it's like the old idea that like attracts like or like produces like.
Yeah.
Right. Think about it.
You planted...
The cat gives birth to kittens, not puppies.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Bacon, he uses examples that would have been familiar to people in his time.
okay.
He said, oak trees, they're not going to produce pears.
Right.
You can't get grapes from thorny bushes.
Right.
Figs won't sprout from thistles.
Right.
Things bring forth
Right.
their own kind.
Right.
Or at least things that share a similar
Right.
essential nature. Now,
Yeah.
this might seem kind of obvious to us today,
Right.
but it raises this really important question.
Yeah.
If nature operates within these boundaries,
Yeah.
where does alchemy fit in?
Right.
Because alchemy is all about
Yeah.
transforming one thing into another,
Right.
seemingly outside of the normal bounds of nature.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense in our everyday experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
You plant an apple seed, you expect an apple tree.
Right.
So where does this, alchemy with this idea of turning lead into gold,
Yeah.
where does that find its footing in this, seemingly fixed system?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Bacon introduces this concept of what he calls the mineral root.
Okay.
And he says this is the key to the alchemical secret.
Okay.
He's suggesting that the power of transformation isn't just, floating around out there.
Yeah.
It's specifically located
Right.
in these fundamental mineral components.
Okay.
And he's very clear
Yeah.
about what it's not.
Okay.
He says forget about extracting it from just any old stones or salts or other, what he calls heterogeneous bodies.
Right.
So,
Sure.
so if you're thinking about,
Yeah.
transmuting your kitchen salt into gold,
Right.
Bacon says, no.
Yeah.
He even mentions Theophrastus, and he
Yeah.
says, sometimes philosophers will
Right.
try to obscure this truth. They'll talk about salts and alums as if they contain this transformative secret.
Right.
But Bacon's he's pointing us towards something more fundamental.
Okay.
He believes, and he agrees here with Geber,
Okay.
that the perfection of matter originates from its seeds.
Okay.
And these seeds, these true mineral roots, as he sees them,
Okay.
he identifies as sulfur and mercury.
Okay.
Now, it's important to understand, we're not necessarily talking about, the common sulfur that you might encounter or the quicksilver that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Instead, think of them as representing fundamental principles.
Okay.
Inherent qualities that underlie these substances.
Okay, so it's less about the actual the specific physical
stuff, and more about what those substances
It's about the qualities they embody.
Yeah. Okay. And he goes on to describe nature's process as this kind of slow, drawn out affair.
Right.
He says it takes like 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
Viscous water and these subtle unseen forces.
Right.
They act upon sulfur and mercury down in the mines and the caverns.
Yeah, deep within the earth.
This interaction creates a vapor that rises. It settles back onto its own earth.
Yeah.
And then through a what he calls a temperate digestion.
Right.
It slowly solidifies into these mineral stones from which metals are eventually formed.
So nature operates on a geological timescale.
Yeah.
And this is where alchemical art steps in.
Right. Bacon explains that the goal of alchemy is to replicate.
Right.
And crucially to accelerate this natural process.
The key word being...
The key word is accelerate.
Accelerate.
Alchemists, they're not trying to conjure something totally unnatural. They're trying to speed up what nature's already doing.
Right.
Just at a much slower pace.
Yeah. Yeah, and he makes this this vital point, almost like a disclaimer, you know?
Yeah.
He's managing expectations here.
Yeah.
He says that alchemists, they're mere servants of nature.
Right.
They're not rewriting the rules of the universe. They're just, you know, facilitating these natural transformations.
Right. They're like skilled gardeners, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
They're tending to nature's inherent abilities rather than
they're not
miracle worker
conjuring something
top duddy from nothing.
Right, right. So now when he discusses these mineral roots, he really focuses in on mercury.
Right.
He calls it the second principle of their stone.
Right.
And he describes it in this almost contradictory way.
Right.
A stone and no stone. What's the enigma there?
It's fascinating. It's like he's ascribing this inherent duality to mercury.
Okay.
On the one hand, it's a physical substance. It's a stone,
right?
In that sense, but its behavior, it defies typical stony characteristics. He emphasizes its ability to penetrate and be absorbed by other substances and in turn to absorb them.
Okay.
So think about, you know, liquid mercury. Its ability to dissolve certain metals.
Right.
It's actively engaging with other materials in a way that a regular stone just doesn't.
Right. It's this incredibly active and transformative
it's got this vitality to it.
Substance, right. And he calls it argent vave, living silver, implying that it contains this inherent vitality, this power, this essential power to unlock the tincture, you know, of their elixir, the philosopher's stone itself.
And he even references Ross's claim, this very bold claim, that something surpassing nature's ordinary perfection can be achieved through mercury.
Right.
It's seen as this very foundation of metals. It's got this natural affinity for them.
Right.
And it's this vital medium for uniting and transforming their essential qualities.
Right, right. And he even, you know, he adds this layer saying that it's natural or mineral, vegetable, and animal because, you know, it's found in the mines.
Right.
It's considered the mother of metals.
Yeah.
It can seemingly grow or emerge, and it penetrates other substances, you know, with its power.
Right. So it's got this connection to all these different...
It's a very interconnected view of matter.
Absolutely. And that reflects a worldview where the boundaries between different categories of existence weren't as sharply defined as they are for us today.
Right, right. Now alongside this immense potential that he ascribes to these fundamental substances, he also issues the serious warning. He cautions against introducing anything foreign or impure into the alchemical work, and he states very clearly, nothing can give that which it has not. It sounds like it's a pretty
fundamental rule.
Fundamental rule, yeah.
For any transformative process.
Yeah, he's stressing the importance of purity, of homogeneity in the starting materials.
A pure substance, he argues, is simple.
Right.
It's of a single essence.
Yeah.
Impure substances, they're compounded, they're made of different parts.
Right.
They're inherently unstable. Right. They're prone to decay.
Yeah.
Prone to corruption.
Right.
And that will sabotage the delicate alchemical process that you're trying to achieve.
Right, right. So it's like trying to bake a cake with tainted ingredients. No matter how skilled the baker, no matter how perfect the recipe, the final result's going to be compromised.
Absolutely.
He emphasizes that everything involved in creating their stone must originate from it, either in part or in whole. Any alien substance introduced, it contaminates it. It derails the whole thing.
It's like a virus.
Yeah. So this intense focus on purity, it leads to the need for purification processes.
Yeah.
He outlines methods for cleansing these citrine bodies, like Sol, which we'll find out is associated with gold, through techniques like calcination, essentially intense heating, or cementation.
Yeah.
And then there's this this more involved procedure for purifying mercury.
What's interesting about the mercury purification is that it's this multi-stage approach.
Okay.
You have to grind it meticulously with salt and vinegar, repeatedly wash it with clean water, and you keep doing this until the water runs perfectly clear, and the mercury itself becomes pure and lustrous.
Okay.
Like a Venice-looking glass, he says.
Right. It's a very physical, demanding process. And he underscores the need to get those proportions.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly right.
Correct.
He even mentions a ratio of 24:1, and he kind of subtly connects that, to the hours in a day plus 1.
Right.
Almost
maybe symbolizing
symbolizing
the rising of the sun.
Yeah.
But the core message is even with perfectly pure, perfectly mixed materials, if you don't get those ratios right, your efforts are going to fail.
It's not just about what you use, it's about how much. And in what balance.
Right. And then he brings in Euclid, advising a strict focus solely on Sol and Mercury, gold and Mercury as the essential ingredients for crafting the Philosopher's Stone.
Right.
He reiterates that both white and red elixirs, those are
the ultimate goals. The goals of alchemy.
Yeah.
They originate from this single root.
This single fundamental root.
Yeah. And he even points out that
that
gold in its pure form, it lacks mercury. So it can't fully realize its inherent transformative potential on its own.
So even gold, which is considered this incredibly valuable pure substance, needs the mercury to unlock its full potential.
Right. So if gold's already considered this incredibly valuable pure substance, why does it need to be,
that's a good question,
broken down? Why does it need to be manipulated? And that's where the concept of dissolution comes into play. Bacon states that the crucial initial step is reducing the citrine body, the gold, back to its first matter. And he identifies that.
And he says that first matter is mercury.
It sounds counterintuitive.
Paradoxical, They're taking something that's seemingly perfect.
You're taking this perfect thing.
And you're deliberately dismantling it.
And deliberately...
But the idea is...
You're breaking it down.
To return the gold to its primordial state.
Okay.
To unleash its hidden potential by merging it with the active and transformative principle of mercury.
Right. And he even uses this vivid analogy of a marriage.
The red man, the Sol, the gold, and the white wife, the mercury.
Right.
They come together in this conjunction to create something new.
To create something entirely new.
And Merlin echoes this. He says...
when the white woman is joined...
When the white woman is joined with the red man, they become one.
They become one.
And they bring forth something entirely new.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about breaking down that existing form to create this unified substance imbued with this transformative power.
And the language of dissolution is key here.
Okay.
It's not merely about physically combining substances. It's about reducing the hard body, the gold, into a liquid state.
Okay.
Into the very essence of argent vive.
Right. And he even asserts...
And this process, it diminishes the saltness of the sulfur that's inherent in the gold. It's essentially refining.
Right. And he asserts
these fundamental qualities.
That unless this brass, that's another term that they use to refer to their starting material, unless it's thoroughly broken down ground into this fine powder,
Right.
and carefully managed into this subtle, volatile spirit, all your efforts are going to be, completely futile.
So in this alchemical process, destruction must precede creation.
So now once you've theoretically achieved this primordial soup,